FYISC Chapter 11, Structural Changes in the Indian Economy After Liberalization. Part 3, Policy of Privatization. 1. Meaning of privatization. Privatization implies the process which leads to the transfer of ownership of the public sector enterprises from the government to the private sector. 2. Features of the policy of privatization in India. I. Policy of dereservation. The industrial policy of 1991 reduced the number of industries which were exclusively reserved for the public sector, namely atomic energy, railways and specified minerals. However, the public sector will be allowed to enter in areas not reserved for it, for healthy competition, as and when required. 2. Policy towards FYISC public sector undertakings. FYISC enterprises are those which have been incurring heavy losses year after year. The Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BIFR, was set up in 1987 to look into a. The revival of FYISC companies from loss-making to normal functioning, b. Making reconstruction of capital structure, c. Giving advice to companies' board of directors, d. Taking actions on mergers with other companies. 3. Policy for Navaratnas and Miniratnas. The government has granted enhanced powers to the board of directors of various profit-making public sector undertakings, SU, known as Maharatna, Navaratna and Miniratna. These SU were to be provided financial and managerial autonomy to become global giants. They have been given additional power and freedom to incur capital expenditure, raise debt, enter into joint ventures etc. Navaratna companies were identified as high-performing and profit-making enterprises such as Bharat Electronics Limited, Container Corporation of India Limited, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited etc. Maharatna companies were empowered to expand their operations, both in the domestic as well as the foreign market, and it includes companies such as Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, Coal India Limited, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited etc. Miniratna companies were granted enhanced autonomy and delegation of financial enterprises to some other profit-making companies. Companies under this category includes Airports Authority of India, Bharat Sankar Nigam Limited etc. 4. Memorandum of Understanding, MO. The main objective of MO is to grant autonomy to the public sector enterprises by reducing the quality of control and increasing the quality of accountability of management. It aims at bringing a balance between autonomy and accountability. The government evaluates the performance of the public sector enterprises through comparison between the actual achievements and the annual targets set by the government. Rating on a 5-point scale like excellent, very good, good, fair and poor are given to the public sector enterprises as an incentive to improve their efficiency. V. Voluntary Retirement Scheme, VRS. To avoid overstaffing, the government has initiated a VRS in the public sector enterprises to reduce the number of excess workers. Under this scheme, workers seeking voluntary retirement are given financial compensation. VI. Disinvestment Policy. The policy of disinvestment refers to selling off the government's equity in the public sector units in the market. Under this policy, a part of the government's shareholding in the selected public sector's undertakings would be offered to the private investors, financial institutions, mutual funds, workers and the public at large. The main objective of disinvestment is to raise funds and encourage wider participation of general public and workers in the ownership of the public sector's enterprises. Disinvestments are done through many ways, such as offering equity shares to retail investors through domestic public issues. Global Depository Receipts, GDRs, for raising funds in the overseas markets and also through strategic sale method. 3. Significance of privatization in India. I. Revival of SIC units. Due to privatization, many SIC units which were loss-making and liability to the government turned into profit-making companies such as Bharat Electronics Limited, Container Corporation of India Limited, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, etc. 2. Improvement in managerial efficiency. Privatization through disinvestment has established a direct relationship between the shareholders and the management. Private shareholders would have direct interest in increasing the efficiency of these enterprises, and there would be no political pressure and delay. It also helps in improving the quality of decision-making. 3. Competitive environment. Transfer of ownership from the public to the private sector would infuse competition among similar other firms. It would infuse a commercial spirit in the enterprises, and the enterprises would be under constant pressure to increase its production's efficiency by using improved technologies. 4. Profit-oriented decisions. Due to commercial spirit, the private sector will introduce profit-oriented decision-making process in the working of enterprises, and this will yield better returns to its shareholders. V. Greater flexibility in decision-making. The policy of privatization will be helpful in imparting greater flexibility in the decision-making process, as the management would be free from any government intervention. It would be possible to take quick and timely decisions, which would help in improving the business operations. Vi. Reduction of burden on the public exchequer. Operation of the public sector enterprises has been putting a large burden on the public exchequer. Because of huge losses incurred by a number of enterprises and growing amount of subsidy payments. Due to privatization, the government would not be under the obligation of providing subsidy and making up for the losses. 7. Greater attention to consumer satisfaction. The very survival of the private enterprise depends on the satisfaction of the consumers, and hence attention would be given to the consumers because of the need for creating and sustaining their market. Hence, quality of service tends to improve under privatization. 8. Greater investment and employment opportunities. Privatization will lead to opening up of new areas to the private sector which were earlier reserved for the public sector, and this will lead to the increase in investments by the private sector. Higher investment would mean creation of larger employment and income earning opportunities in the economy. 9. Increase in accountability. Unlike the public sector, where personnel are not accountable for any lapse, the areas of responsibility under the private sector are clearly defined, and thus it leads to an increase in the accountability of the personnel managing these enterprises. X. Increase in financial discipline. The private sector enterprises would be able to raise funds in the capital market only if they are performing well, and hence this would pressurize the enterprises to perform well in order to raise funds, thus improving their financial discipline.